Hello and welcome back to Major League Talk Giants edition. Today is Monday, June 5th, 2023. My name is Henry Self. This is episode 20, and today we're going to be reviewing the series against the Baltimore Orioles. The black and orange against the black and orange. The 19th series of the season for the Giants came against a strong contender this year in the Baltimore Orioles, who are second in the AL East and would be first in the NL had they actually been in the NL. This series opened with a splash and looked like it was going to be the Giants series to win. Lamont Wade Jr. hit 100 on the first pitch he saw leading off in the first inning of game one. However, it was a Webb start, which this season has shown to result in low offensive support from the Giants. The Giants dropped game one 3-2. In game two, Cobb came out and spun another great game, carrying a shutout into the eighth. And with a 3-run third inning, the Giants shut out the Orioles 4-0 to take game two. Game three, a wonderful day game, started with hope of taking the series. It ended with the Giants under 500 again. Dave Sclafani struggled with his command in a disastrous third inning, which saw the Orioles score 6 runs on 3 walks, a hit by pitch, 4 hits, and a sac fly sealed the fate of the Giants, who would only score 3 runs. The Giants dropped game three and the series 8-3. The starters for each game were Kramer versus Webb, Bradish versus Cobb, and Wells versus Dave Sclafani. So, game one, the Giants started Webb, who once again did not get much offensive support despite giving another quality start. Webb's final line was 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Unfortunately, he did give up a solo home run in the 7th, which would end up breaking the tie of the game. For our lineup, he had Wade Jr. at first, who went 1 for 4 with a strikeout and a home run. Davis was at third. He went 1 for 3 with a strikeout and a run. Yaz was in right. He went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Haniger was in left. He went 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Sable was DHing 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Schmidt at second, then would go to play shortstop. He went 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Bailey was catching. He went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Conforto would come in to pinch hit for his spot, and he would go 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Crawford was at short. He went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And then Crawford went 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. And then Slater would pinch hit for him and then go to play center, and he went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Wisely was in center, but then would go to play second, and he went 1 for 1 with a walk. And Flores would come in to pinch hit for his spot and then play second, and he would draw a walk. So the Giants hitters totaled 6 hits and 30 at-bats with 12 strikeouts, 3 walks. Tyler Rogers came out in the 8th inning, getting a 1-2-3 inning via fly out, pop out, and fly out. In the 9th, Brebby came out to keep the game within reach for the offense. He did his job, getting a 1-2-3 inning as well with a strikeout, fly out, and ground out. The Giants did have an opportunity in the 9th when Schmidt hit a 2-out double, yet Conforto came out to hit for Bailey and struck out on a 98-mile-an-hour four-seamer down the middle on a 3-2 count. The Giants also had a chance in the 8th when Flores walked and Davis got hit by a pitch with only 1 out, but Yaz grounded into a double play on a 2-1 sinker down low. The offense left 5 on base, going 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Yaz hit a 2-out RBI. Yaz, Schmidt, and Wisely hit doubles, and Yaz grounded to a double play. Bailey earned an error on a catcher's interference. The Giants scored on Wade Jr.'s leadoff home run, and then a Yaz RBI double. So for the pitcher report, we had Logan Webb. He threw 97 pitches in this outing on Friday, June 2nd. 45 changeups, 40 sinkers, 10 sliders, and 2 four-seamers. His changeups averaged 87.6. His sinkers averaged 92.2. His sliders averaged 83.9. The sliders would go away from a righty, and the changeups, four-seamers, and sinkers would come in, with those changeups having the most drop. As far as his distribution across the strike zone, not much of an overall pattern. Hit the zone and then mainly stayed right around it. There were a couple that were up and into a righty and then down and away, but other than that, he threw 54 pitches in the strike zone and 43 out of the zone. Batters would swing at 51 of his pitches and take 46. They swung mostly at his changeups and took mostly sinkers. They also swung at both of those four-seamers. He threw 23 balls, 35 strikes. 23 of those strikes were called, and most of those were sinkers. And then he got 12 swinging strikes, and most of those were changeups. 5 sinkers were thrown in. Batters made contact on 39 of his pitches, 21 foul tips, most of those changeups, 14 hits for outs, and then 4 base hits. The 4 base hits were 2 changeups, 1 sinker, and 1 slider. He got 10 hard hits, 5 of which were ground balls, 2 were line drives, and then 3 fly balls. Calling the balls and strikes, Nick Marley. He has a 90% overall accuracy with a 93% overall consistency, plus 0.25 runs for San Francisco for his overall favor. Impactful missed calls. Bottom of the third, Kramer to Haniger, 2 outs, runner on second, 0-2 count, a strike is called a ball. Bottom of the fifth, Kramer to Wisely, no outs, runner on first, 1-0 count, ball is called a strike. Top of the third, Webb to Rushman, no outs, bases empty, 0-1 count, ball is called a strike. His called ball accuracy was 96%, 3 of 85 called balls were true strikes, and his called strike accuracy, 80%. 10 of 50 called strikes were true balls. That's pretty abysmal. Don't want to see that many missed calls there. So that leads us into game 2. So now the Giants are down 1-0 to the Orioles in this 3-game set. Game 2, Cobb came out and pitched another great game. He had 3 straight 1-2-3 innings between the first and the fifth, and ultimately took a shutout to 7 2/3 innings. His final line was 7.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks. For our lineup, Wade Jr. was at first. He went 2 for 3 with a strikeout, 2 walks, and a run. Davis was at third. He went 1 for 5 with a strikeout, a run, and an RBI. Yaz was in center. He went 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a run. Then Slater would come in to pinch hit and then go play center and then go play left field. And he went 1 for 2 with an RBI. Flores was DHing. He went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Sable was in left. He went 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Then Johnson would come in to play center field, and he didn't get a chance to hit. Haniger was in right. He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. Bailey was catching. He went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Schmidt was at second. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And Crawford was at shortstop. He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a walk, and a run. So 10 hits and 35 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, and 4 walks. So Alexander would come out to get the last and slightly comical out of the 8th inning on a ground out to the pitcher, which he fell down as he was going to grab it and then managed to make the throw to first for the out, saving a run from the ground. Duvall would come out for the 9th, pitching a 1-2-3 inning via strikeout, ground out, and ground out. The offense left 11 on base, went 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Flores, Yaz, and Wade Jr. hit doubles. The defense turned 1 double play. The Giants scored on an RBI single from Davis, a 2 RBI single from Flores, and an RBI single from Slater. So in this game, like I said, you had Cobb. He was the starter, 103 pitches in his 7 2/3 innings pitched, 58 splitters, 32 sinkers, 10 knuckle curves, and 3 sliders. His splitters were averaging 89 on the nose. His knuckle curves were averaging just shy of 83, 82.9. His sinkers were 94.5, and the 3 sliders averaged 86.3. As for the movement, most things are moving in toward a righty as far as lateral movement. Those knuckle curves had a lot of drop. Almost a 6-foot release point. As for his distribution across the strike zone, most of it kind of stays in and starting to come down to a righty. So if you split the strike zone diagonally, going up and into a righty and down and out from a righty, most of his pitches stayed on the down and in portion. He threw 46 pitches in the strike zone, 57 of them out of the zone. Batters would swing at 48 of his pitches and take 55. Now, because he threw so many splitters, it looks almost like a 50-50 split between taking and swinging. They did take most of his knuckle curves, only swinging at 1, and an almost 50-50 split for his sinkers as well. 33 balls, most of which were splitters, 36 strikes, 20 of them called, 16 swinging. Of the 20 called, the majority were sinkers. The 16 swinging strikes, the majority of them were splitters. 34 pitches were contacted with in some way, 14 foul tips, 15 hits for outs, and 5 base hits. For the 5 base hits, 3 splitters, 2 sinkers. He got 5 hard hits, 1 ground ball, 2 line drives, and 2 fly balls. 4 of those hard hits were splitters, 1 was a knuckle curve. And then calling the balls and strikes on Saturday was Vic Carapazza. He has an overall accuracy of 94% and an overall consistency of 96%, with overall favor of plus 0.39 runs for San Francisco. His impact from his calls: bottom of the first, Bradish to Yastrzemski, 1 out, runner on first, 1-2 count, a ball is called a strike. Top of the 7th, Cobb to Santander, no outs, bases empty, 2-1 count, ball is called a strike. Top of the 3rd, Cobb to Hicks, no outs, bases empty, 1-1 count, ball is called a strike. His called ball accuracy was 98%, 2 of 91 called balls were true strikes, and his called strike accuracy was 88%. 6 of 51 called strikes were true balls. So that leads us into our final game, which was shaping up like it could be a pretty good game. You had Dave Sclafani coming to start, but he didn't make it past 3 innings. He had a 1-2-3 first inning and only had 1 runner on in the second inning due to a throwing error from Davis. In the third, his struggles were out in the open for everyone to see. At one point, he threw 8 straight called balls. Though looking at the locations on ESPN, 7 of them were very much borderline calls, with 3 of those 7 not even really borderline, but being in the strike zone. His final line was 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. The lineup for the Giants: Wade Jr. at first, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, a walk, and a run. Davis at third, 2 for 3 with a walk. Flores DHing, 0 for 3 with a walk, and a run, and an RBI. Sable on left, 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, a run, and 2 RBIs, and a home run. Haniger in right, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Bailey catching, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Schmidt in shortstop, 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout, 1 RBI. Wisely at second, 1 for 3 with a strikeout and an RBI. Excuse me, those are incorrect. The RBIs are on Flores and Sable. Schmidt and Wisely did not have RBIs. Slater was in center. He went 1 for 3 with a strikeout. So that's 5 hits, 31 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 runs, 1 home run. So with Dave Sclafani being pulled in after the 3rd, Junis would come out for the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. He'd get a 1-2-3 4th via ground out, strikeout, and ground out. In the 5th, he got 2 ground outs, gave up a single, but then got a strikeout. In the 6th, he gave up a leadoff home run, but then got a strikeout, a line out, gave up a double, and got a flyout. So 1 run. In the 7th, Walker came out and had a 1-2-3 inning via ground out and 2 strikeouts. In the 8th, Taylor Rogers made an appearance, getting a ground out, a strikeout, giving up a single, getting a strikeout. And then finally, Luke Jackson came out for the 9th, getting a ground out, then a fielding error by Wisely allowed the next batter to reach first. A flyout followed, and then an RBI triple. He would get a ground out to end the inning. In the bottom of the 9th, with a 5-run deficit, the Giants hitters went down in order: flyout, strikeout, pop out. Giants offense left 4 on base and went 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Flores was the only hitter to get opportunities with runners in scoring position. Davis hit a double, and Sable grounded to a double play. The defense earned 3 errors: 1 on Davis for throwing, 1 on Slater for throwing, and 1 on Wisely for fielding. The Giants scored on a Sable 2-run homer and a Flores fielder's choice RBI. So Dave Sclafani, he ended up throwing 68 pitches in his 3 innings. So that's a lot just for 3 innings. That's what happens when you have a 6th inning like he did. And that was 29 sliders, 19 sinkers, 9 changeups, 7 knuckle curves, and 4 four-seam fastballs. His changeups averaged 85.9. His four seamers 93.8, his knuckle curves 82.8, and his sinkers 93.2, with his sliders averaging 87.6. Knuckle curves obviously had the most drop. Sliders did not have much lateral movement. Changeups, four seamers, and sinkers had lateral movement toward the batter. Strike zone, not much of an actual not much of an actual pattern there, really. But 26 pitches in the zone, 42 out of the zone. Batters would swing at 25 and take 43. It looks to be about an even distribution between swinging and taking when you look at the types of pitches. There's not much of a not much of a disparity there. 28 balls, 19 strikes, 15 called, 4 swinging. Of the 15 called, they were mainly sliders. Batters made contact on 21 of his pitches, 9 foul tips, 6 hits for outs, 6 base hits. The 6 base hits were 3 sliders, 1 four seamer, 1 sinker, and 1 changeup. And 2 hard hit balls, a changeup for a ground ball, and a slider for a line drive. And then calling the balls and strikes was Jerry Lane. He has a 92% overall accuracy and a 91% overall consistency. Impact from his calls. Oh, he had an overall favor of plus 0.19 runs for Baltimore. Impact from his calls, bottom of the fifth, Wells to Slater, 1 out, runner on first. 0-2 count, ball called a strike. Bottom of the ninth, Voth to Bailey, 1 out, bases empty, 2-2 count, ball called a strike. Top of the ninth, Jackson to Santander, 1 out, bases empty, 2-1 count, ball called a strike. His called ball accuracy, 96%, 4 of 105 called balls were true strikes. And his called strike accuracy, 84%, 10 of 62 called strikes were true balls. And them's the games. So it's a pretty rough homestand there, going down 2-4 to the Pirates and the Orioles. Now, these weren't just struggling teams. The Pirates have come back down to earth a little bit, but they also have won 5 straight, and the Orioles are not to be underestimated. But as stated before, this series drops the Giants 29-30, 1 game under 500, 2-4 on the homestand. They're now 5.5 games back of the Diamondbacks and Dodgers, who share first place currently at 35-25 each. They are 2 games ahead of the Padres, who are 27-32, and 4 games ahead of the Rockies, who are 26-35, who we are about to go play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. With regard to the wild card, the first spot is occupied by both the D-backs and Dodgers right now until one becomes the sole possessor of first in the West. The Pirates hold the second spot at 31-27, and the Marlins hold the third spot at 32-28. That puts the Giants 2 games out, with the Mets a half a game ahead of them at 30-30. The Padres and Phillies are the next 2 teams behind the Giants, each sitting at 27-32, 2 games back of the Giants. So, and I guess that's why Farhan pretty much said that they're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline coming up on August 1st. So we got just under 2 months to go. Now, a couple of things to point out with some of the trends, and a lot of what I'm going to be taking is straight from an Athletic article. One, Giants don't lose slugfests. We don't rally. They are 0-17 when their opponent scores at least 7 runs. One, the fact that we've let opponents score more than 7 runs 7 or more runs 17 times. Oof. 2, we're 0-17 when we give up 7 runs or more. Yikes. So we can't rally. That's rough. And then you look at some of the other things here. The bullpen's been looking pretty good. Taylor Rogers has been scored on once in his past 18 appearances. Luke Jackson is looking good coming back. Ryan Walker is looking good. Tristan Beck is returning. And then we've got Camilo Duvall, who has been phenomenal in closing situations. And then you look at some of the rookies that we've had, Patrick Bailey and Casey Schmidt. They both went 0 for 4 Sunday, and now their averages are below 300. So the rookies are coming down because Schmidt will swing away and he likes to chase high. And over the past 5 games, Schmidt is only 2 for 19 with no walks and 6 strikeouts. Bailey is 3 for 19 with no walks and 10 strikeouts. The Giants lost 4 of those 5 games. And I wanted to look at our starting pitchers mostly. So looking at Webb, right? I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page right now. And since the start of April, he's only gone less than 7 innings in 1 game. And that was a 6-inning game against Miami in which he gave up no earned runs. And that was on May 20th. And he's only pitched less than 6 innings 1 time this year. And that was a 5-inning, 4 earned run showing against the White Sox back on April 5th. So it's almost been 2 months since he's had to go less than 6 innings. So Webb, as a pitcher, has done his job. And here is earned run totals over the past few games. So going back to going back to May 3rd. 7.2 innings, 2 earned, 7 innings, 1 earned, 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, no earned, 7 innings, 1 earned, 7 innings, 3 earned. Quality starts. Then you want to go back into April 27th, 6 2/3, 2 earned. And then April 22nd, 7 innings, 2 earned. And the only problem here with all this being said is that Webb doesn't get the offensive support. And for somebody that's doing pitching like that, he's only got 4 wins to 6 losses. His ERA is sitting at a 2.85 with a 1.04 whip, 82 strikeouts to 79 innings pitched. He has started 12 games and he sits at 4-6. And he's got some good red here on his his Baseball Savant. 88th percentile in chase rate, 88th percentile in walk rate, 85th percentile in extension. His strikeout rate, 69th percentile. His expected ERA, 74th percentile. The only blue he's really got on here is fastball spin. Oh, well. Hard hit percentage, though, is what hurts, and the average exit velocity. And then you look at Alex Cobb. He's got a complete game shutout. And looking back over at some of his last starts, he hasn't had great starts in April. So he had a couple back to back, 7 innings, no earned, 7.1, no earned. But then you come across a start against the Phillies on the 16th of May, 3 1/3 innings, 2 earned, 5 hits. Can't remember exactly why he only went 3.1. And then May 23rd, 7 innings, 3 earned. Then he had that start against the Brewers, 4 innings, 7 earned. So this is a good bounce back from that start to this start, right? But overall, he is 5-2 with a 2.71 ERA, 1.32 WHIP, 64 strikeouts over 69 and 2/3 innings pitched. So the offense is picking him up more than they are Webb. Now you come to DeSclafani, who had that one really bad outing against Washington, the 7 innings with 5 runs in the first, and now 3 innings with 5 earned runs, 6 total against Baltimore, with all those runs coming in the third. And looking back over his April, 8 innings, no earned, 7 innings, 5 earned, all in the first, 5 innings, 3 earned, 5.1 innings, 2 earned, 5 innings, 4 earned, 7 total runs. That was that last game against Minnesota. 7 innings, 3 earned, but then 3 and 6. So hopefully he has a bounce back like Cobb did after he had that rough outing. But if you look back at a lot of Cobb's starts, he doesn't 6 innings, 6 1/3, 6 2/3, 5, 6, 8, 7, 5, 5, 1, 5, 7, 3. He regularly goes under 6 innings. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 12 starts that are under 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9 out of the 12 are under 7. And now we're really thin at starting pitching. All right, Wood is back on the IL. Stripling is still on the IL. Mania is in the bullpen. We recall Tristan Beck. And this is not the position the Giants really thought that they were going to be in at this point in the season when they were looking at all their moves in the offseason that they had made. They signed a couple of pitchers that have the potential to be starters if they can get back to really good form. They already had their main 3, Webb, Cobb, and DeSclafani. They had Wood as their 4th. So they really only needed one of the 2 pitchers that they signed to really hit well if they were gambling. Mania is starting to come around, but it seems like it's better when he's coming in behind 1 inning pitched from Brevia. And another thing about DeSclafani, 11 consecutive starts with 5+ innings and 2 or fewer walks were tied for the 3rd longest to start a season in the Giants San Francisco era. 2.70 ERA in April, 4.10 ERA in May. When your offense is hot and cold, you really need the starters to be able to be stretched out to 6, 7, sometimes 8 innings and give up less than 3 runs. You need quality starts to make up for the hot and cold offense. And right now, it's looking like it's starting to get a little bit harder. And the Giants may be able to start Webb and Cobb during the Rockies series, and they probably will. And I think last I saw, it was still to be announced for game 1 tomorrow. But we do have some hitters coming back. I believe Peterson and Tyro Estrada and should be coming back. And I think the Giants may be looking to use Conforto more during this Rockies series. So getting some offensive support there. And that'll be most welcome, especially in Coors. So I'll see you Thursday afternoon or Friday morning after the Rocky series. Hope everybody has a good week. Peace.